it's your boy Ray Fandango here, ready for another little Ray Fandango's Top Trumps, baby. Pow, 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 pow. That's where I've hit two random movies that I've connected some way or another, and I pit them against each other under categories that I've completely made up myself. If you love movies, well, you've come to the right place, because my name's Ray Fandango, and I love the movies. I watch the good ones, I watch the bad ones, I watch the stupid ones, I'll watch the smart ones. This time we're going to be doing Ray Fandango's Top Trumps Alien Slug Edition. Yes, that's correct. So I watched Night of the Creeps very recently and thoroughly enjoyed it, and I just thought, why does this movie ring a bell? I can't tell why, but oh yeah, that's why, because it's pretty much the same premise to Slither, which I watched as a young child, back when it came out in 2006, and I thought, you know what, I want to know which one of these do I personally like best. So here we are, folks. We got ourselves two contestants. We got ourselves 5 rounds of made-up crap, and we're gonna see which one comes out on top. Just a disclaimer, I recently just had a filling put in, so I can't actually move too much of my face on this part. So if you think I'm having a stroke, don't worry, it's okay. I might be, but probably more than not, it's going to just be the fact that this side of my mouth is all numb. So hopefully I don't chew off my own tongue, and hopefully my new filling doesn't come out. But here we are, guys. Let's stop messing about, okay? I'm going to be watching 2 horror comedies that both involve alien slugs. Let's see which one comes out on top. As you can see, I've slipped into something not as comfortable as what I was wearing, but it's the obligatory ref shirt, as we are going to be pitting 2 movies against each other, so it only seems right. So we'll start off with the 1985 Night of the Creep, directed by Fred Dacker, I believe. The actors we've got in are Tom Adkins, Steve Marshall, Jason Lively, and Jill Whitlow. I'm going to cut them all up and you're going to see that all in one nice smooth transition. Runtime is a lovely 1 hour 25, which is nice and short and sweet. Tomato meter is 70% on this one, and the popcorn meter is 75%. So quite high, critics and audience members have clearly seen this is quite a cult classic. The letterbox rating being 3.5, so pretty unanimous that, yeah, this is a pretty decent movie. Our other contestant is going to be Slither, 2006 Slither, written and directed by our man James Gunn. Way before he was doing DC and Guardians of the Galaxy, he was doing little old action comedy horrors like this one. And yeah, I think he did a pretty good job with it. I think rewatching it, it was just as much fun as when I first enjoyed it. Yeah, okay, it's not going to win any Oscars here, but a bit of dumb fun, and I think he did pretty well with the whole alien slug thing. I mean, it's got a plethora of actors that, you'd look at back and you go, oh shit, they were in it, were they? You've got Nathan Fillion, that's quite hard to say with this fill-in. Nathan Fillion. We've got Elizabeth Banks. James Gunn has a little cameo in it as well. We've got Michael Rooker, of course. And there's even a little snippet of Jenna Fisher, where probably before she was on The Office, or maybe around the same time, not sure. But it was lovely to see their faces. Time is just a little bit over, so this one is 1 hour and 36 minutes. Doesn't go on for too long and doesn't cut itself short. The tomato meter of this one is 87%, so critics did like it better than they liked Night of the Creep. Popcorn meter is only a 63%, so I think that's probably about right. A letterbox rating of 3.2. Alright, so our first category is going to be overall vibes. That's right, basically, once I'd finished watching it, what did I think? Was it good? Was it okay? What bits did I like? What bits did I didn't like? Well, let's start with Night of the Creeps. So, Night of the Creeps was lighter than I was expecting. I know it said horror comedy, but sometimes it can lean way into the horror and forget about the comedy, but these guys didn't. I mean, you've basically got, a geekier, nerdier, more disabled version of Cameron and Ferris Bueller, right? Let's just say that. They're on the campus and they just want to be cool, happening guys. they get picked on by the guys that, the big jock guys, and they basically said, "Oh, look, why don't you go into this place and steal a dead body?" And little do they know that this dead body has been infused with a sort of alien slug, which we actually see get sent to Earth by a bunch of aliens on a ship that we never see again. So that was quite a cool image just to see those sort of guys sort of running about and sending them off to Earth. And obviously, there you go. Then the infection spreads, and they've just got to try and fight their way through all these jocks that have got themselves munched on by these alien slugs. I dig the vibe, it was very 80s, very kooky, very like tongue-in-cheek. There's some silly moments and some epic moments. I'm going to put it right down the middle. I think it's going to be a 2.5 out of 5. Now, the overall vibe of this, like I said, I was better than what I remember it, if I'm honest. The pacing is really good, the acting is really great. There's maybe a few comedy duds that don't really land, but it's going to happen. I mean, but there was just some cool scenes in it. Did well with the imaginative of what this could possibly be and what it could actually look like if you actually got overtaken by some of these alien slugs. Obviously, they've got a few. You've got a bit more of a leap in the CGI department, and it's not terrible to look at, but I think some of the best stuff actually comes from the practical effects, but more to do with, the town and how they all sort of interact and how they deal with this alien slug zombie takeover. I'm going to give it a 3.5. I really do think it's a little bit more enjoyable, a bit more palatable, should we say, maybe because it's from my era, so a bit more interesting. If I'm honest, the acting was better, so a lot more enjoyable to watch. I think. Garometer, that's right. So, which one did I think spooked me the most? Which one did I think, oh God, if I was in that scenario, I would be most terrified? Now, Night of the Creeps is really good at doing some bits of it, and bits where there's, I guess, zombies coming out at you. They're very slow paced, and they're sort of like on their way. And once you figure out how to kill them, I mean, they sort of just pop them off one by one very quickly. It didn't seem that much of a threat, if I'm honest. But whereas Slither, well, I mean, you just got to take one look at the principal guy when he gets all sort of nerfed and he's got like half his face off, and everyone's just sort of falling into him and merging into one, that you just got to be like, that is freaky. Like, you don't want to be one of those people that has to do, but you also don't want to be the person that has to carry all the slugs, because, well, we'll see what happens to those people. It's tough to say, if I'm honest, but yeah, I think I've got to give the edge to Slither. Yeah, really do. So yeah, I'm going to say Night of the Creeps is about a 3.5 on the scale of me. Like, yeah, it's a pretty bad scenario, but I think once you get yourself out of that campus, so, you got a spare flamethrower and a shotgun, you're doing all right. Whereas Slither, oh yeah, I think Slither, I'm probably going to give a 4, if I'm honest. Like, yeah, I just want to be well away from that whole scenario. The infection meter. Who got the most infected, really? I think that's what it comes down to. How far did their reach go? Now, like I've mentioned, Night of the Creeps, they only really did a small campus, and shall we say campus? I actually think you could probably bring that down to probably 10 or 15 dudes that were in a sorority. Whereas Slither, they cover pretty much the whole town. Like, the whole town pretty much gets infected very quickly, and I think apart from maybe like 3 or 4 of them, they all died. So they did well by spreading fast and really covering ground. I think I'm going to give the Night of Creeps an infection rating of 2 out of 5. I'm going to give Slither 3.5 out of 5. And yeah, that's the way we're going to do it. Preventive kills. Now, this one is a very tricky one, I have to admit, because I think they both have some very interesting things going on. Like Night of the Creeps, there's a point where obviously they figure out how they kill these people, so they just bust a hole in their head, the slug comes out, and they burn that slug. They just sort of repeat that process. So at some point, one of them's got a flamethrower, one of them's got a shotgun. Shotgun to the head, flamethrower and dead. It doesn't have that liability, so he tries to do them both, and at some point he just sort of swings around a room just shooting blindly at all these lads, and then hopefully flamethrowing them later with a cigarette and with some hairspray. So I mean, that was pretty cool to see. You don't see that a lot, and I think they really went for it with the brutality of like, how is this guy going to get out of this situation? But then you've got Slither, and Slither. There's two main bits of Slither that are proper, mate, like really cool to see. When this woman, she gets pumped full of all these slugs, and they eventually find her, and she's just heaving. Like, just imagine like a big human balloon with a face, and she's just so hungry. And then eventually, like, she's like, "Oh, they're tearing me apart," and these slugs just rip her from skin to skin. They all just pour out of her, and they all just run out into the night. But it's honestly really gross to see. And then the other part was where the main slug guy, he's got sort of these tentacles and stuff, and this guy's got a gun to him. He's like, "Hey, stop moving now, I'm gonna get you." And it just whoosh, one whip of him and splits him in two from bloody head to bollock. All right, and yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool to see. You can't deny that. So I'm going to give Night of the Creeps a 3 out of 5, and then Slither just takes the lead with a 3.5. Like, definitely could have been more in there, but what a few things that I did see, top tier. Finally, the practical effects. Now, actually, I'm just getting effects because, like I say, Night of the Creeps, that was before CGI, and Slither had a bit more CGI involved. Now, I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I love the practical effects. I love the tangibility of it. And Slither didn't shy away from it, no, by no means, but definitely relied more on CGI than Night of the Creeps. So I think one of my best bits from Night of the Creeps is probably the zombie that's sort of first gets its head blown off, like it's all decaying, and all the deep grooves and everything, and it's got a little cheeky smile, and then gets his head blown off, and the little slug jumps out, flies away, you know. But then you've got things like, I don't know, demonic Bambi, who's essentially been taken over by these slugs, attacking one of the guys, and they eventually have to knock it out. And then, of course, like I say, you've got the main guy who slowly turning into a slug, and he's just so grotesque. He's got like things coming out of his head, and it's just like his mouth is mostly, melted with teeth and razor sharp teeth and everything. They did well, and it was appeasing to the eyes when it comes to Slither. The effects are probably going to give a 3.5 with Night of the Creeps, and then definitely about 4 when it comes to Slither. So Slither comes out on top. Well, there you have it, folks. I think it's a pretty unanimous decision that Slither has won on this terms. Yes, there's a lot of debate I've seen online that essentially, if there wasn't a Night of the Creeps, then there wouldn't have been a Slither, because it does rely heavily on the same thing, but it does it a different way. I mean, after 20 years, you can do that now, right? At the end of the day, there are so many finite ideas out there, and if you don't have to make a new one, you could just make it better. And in my opinion, they did. Now, like I said, I'm not shitting on Night of the Creeps. I think Night of the Creeps is a great movie. I really enjoyed it. But Slither, unfortunately, if we're going down the comedy horror route, a little bit better. He took the best parts of that film and put it into another one. And yes, okay, you're not going to have a man spinning around in circles shooting these kids in the face, but you are going to get a woman getting split in half by millions of slugs coming out of her body. So I don't know, which one do you find better? Because I think that really solves it up for me. So yeah, I'd love to hear what your thoughts were. Which one do you think's better? Do you think I'm stupid and silly for picking Slither, or do you think that I'd be mad to have ever picked Night of the Creeps? Well, please like, subscribe, do all that jazz, or you could maybe go out and salt some slugs in protest of this. Be a bit cruel, but you never know when they're going to turn, really, do you? Thank you for watching, and yeah, I'll see you for the next one. All right. If I was really good at editing, I'd turn myself into like a slug right now and just sort of slug away, but I'm not. So stay weird.